Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Good morning. You are listening to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
It is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. We hope your week is off to a fantastic start.
We have a packed show for you today. Everything from social media mysteries to the future of factory robots.
But first, the important question. Do I need a coat today?
Well, if you're here in Sacramento with us, maybe not a heavy coat, but you definitely need your headlights.
Oh, the fog.
Yep, we have a dense fog advisory in effect until 11:00 a.m. this morning. Visibility is pretty low out there, so please take it slow on the roads.
Coffee and fog lights. Got it. What about the rest of the country?
It is looking pretty brutal for the eastern half of the lower 48. That deep freeze we talked about yesterday, it's holding strong. Still, we're seeing well below normal temperatures continuing this week. And get this, there's another blast of Arctic air expected to spread from the plains through the southeast by Friday.
Even the southeast?
Even Florida is looking at potential record lows. And if that wasn't enough, meteorologists are watching a potential winter storm threat for the East Coast this weekend.
Oof. Okay, stay warm out there, everyone. All right, let's look at the numbers. How are the markets treating us this morning?
It's a bit of a mixed bag to start the day. The Dow Jones is down slightly, dropping about 87 points or 0.18%.
Okay.
The S&P 500 is basically flat, up just a tiny fraction, 0.04%.
And what about crypto? How's Bitcoin doing?
Bitcoin has taken a bit of a breather today. It's down about 0.75%, so a drop of roughly $650.
All right, keeping an eye on that. Before we get into the news, we have to shout out our friends at Old Glory.
Absolutely. If you have that one friend who is just impossible to shop for, the huge music nerd or the diehard sports fan, you have to check out Old Glory.
They really are the iconic source for music and sports fan merch. I actually just picked up a vintage band tee from them last week. The quality is awesome.
And because you're listening to us, you can get a deal. Use promo code SNARFUL, that's SNARFUL, at checkout.
And that'll get you 15% off your entire purchase.
That is promo code SNARFUL for 15% off. Check them out at oldglory.com.
All right, let's get to it. It's time for the Morningstar, our Snarful Tech article report. Help us connect the dots on today's top stories.
Let's jump in. Our first story is one that is just, taking over social media right now. It involved TikTok, a very specific glitch, and a whole lot of questions.
Yeah, I saw this trending on X yesterday. People are claiming they can't send direct messages on TikTok if the message contains the name Epstein.
Exactly. So here's the scoop. Users started noticing that if they tried to send that word, referring to the late Jeffrey Epstein in a DM, the message just wouldn't go through.
What happens? Does it just disappear?
No. You get a prompt saying the message is a violation of community guidelines, and that it was blocked to protect our community.
Which is bizarre, right? Because usually community guidelines are about, hate speech or violence. Just the name itself triggering a block seems extreme.
It's inconsistent, too.
Yeah.
Some accounts can send it, others can't. But what makes this really explode is the context. We have to connect the dots to what happened just a few days ago.
You mean the sale?
Right. This is happening mere days after TikTok finalized its sale to the TikTok USDS joint venture. This was the big deal put together to avert a U.S. ban.
The idea was to put the company in the hands of mostly American investors to solve those national security concerns.
And one of those key investors is Oracle.
Right. And Oracle is run by Larry Ellison, who is a known close ally of President Trump.
And to bring it full circle, President Trump has had past connections to Jeffrey Epstein. So people are looking at this new American ownership, looking at the glitch and saying, wait a minute.
Just connecting the dots.
Exactly. The hashtag TikTok censorship is trending, and it has escalated quickly. California Governor Gavin Newsom has actually announced an inquiry. Yeah, he wants to review whether TikTok is violating state law by censoring content.
So what is TikTok saying? Are they admitting to blocking it?
No, quite the opposite. A spokesperson stated, quote, "We don't have rules against sharing the name Epstein." They are claiming it's a technical issue they're investigating.
A technical issue that just happens to specifically target one controversial name. That feels convenient.
That's their stance. They're pointing to a broader outage. Apparently, there was a data center issue earlier in the week that caused 0 views on videos and feed lag.
Okay, so they're suggesting this is all part of the system just being wobbly after the migration to new ownership.
That's the argument. But let's unpack that. I mean, we hear technical issue a lot from big tech companies when things go wrong. Is it actually plausible?
It's a fair question. From a technical standpoint, I mean, TikTok is undergoing one of the most complex data migrations in history right now.
Moving everything over to Oracle's cloud infrastructure.
Exactly. And when you move that much data, things break. It's not clean.
So how would that work? Like, how does a name get accidentally blocked?
Well, think about content moderation. It's usually an automated filter checking against a huge database of banned words and phrases, really. If you're migrating that database and the indexing gets corrupted, the system might misinterpret a benign string of text as a prohibited one.
So the system could just be making a mistake, and the error message we see is just the default one it knows how to show.
Precisely. That is the most generous argument for the technical glitch theory. We've seen similar things happen before.
Okay, but on the other hand, the timing is just incredibly suspicious.
It really is. And there are other reports that sensitive topics, like the Minneapolis shootings or immigration raids, we're also seeing feed lag. That starts to feel like a pattern.
And that's where the skepticism is warranted. If it were just the one name, you might buy the corrupted index theory. But when it's a cluster of politically charged topics all having glitches at the same time.
Right. As the ownership changes to a group with very clear political alignments, yeah, the oops, bad code excuse gets a lot harder to swallow.
It just highlights the fragility of these platforms. We treat them like public squares, but they're private servers.
And that distrust is exactly what Governor Newsom is tapping into with this inquiry. It's a collision of digital code and physical politics.
We're going to see a lot more of this, I think.
Okay, let's shift gears. We're moving from the messy world of digital moderation to the equally complex world of physical manufacturing. Our next story is about a company called Vention.
This is a fascinating one out of Montreal. Vention just raised $110 million in a Series D funding round.
That is a huge amount for a Series D in this economy. Investors must be seeing something really big here. What are they building?
They are scaling what they call physical AI.
Okay, let's pause on that term. Physical AI. We hear AI and we think of ChatGPT writing emails or, Mid-Journey making weird pictures. That's all digital.
Right. Physical AI is about how machines perceive, navigate, and manipulate the real physical world. It involves motion planning, sensory feedback, actually moving atoms around.
So Vention is building the brains for robots.
They're building the entire nervous system. Think of Vention as the IKEA of industrial automation.
IKEA for robots sounds like my personal nightmare to assemble. I have enough trouble with the bookshelf.
Well, that's the problem they're solving. Historically, if you wanted to automate a factory line, it was a nightmare. You had to hire expensive integrators and write what the industry calls spaghetti code.
Spaghetti code is a great visual, just a tangled mess of logic that breaks if you touch it.
Exactly. It's custom, fragile code. Vention is trying to kill the spaghetti code. They've created a self-serve platform. You go to their website, design your robot cell, order the hardware.
And it just shows up.
It ships to you, and it's all plug and play.
So it's like Squarespace, but for building a robotic assembly line instead of a website.
That's the perfect analogy. You don't need to be a coding wizard. Their physical AI uses generative models to help you design the system. You tell it what you need, and it suggests a configuration.
That completely changes the economics. Usually automation is only for the big players, Boeing, L'Oreal,
It's massive for the middle market. CEO Etienne Lacroix says they want to be the default standard. This makes automation accessible for smaller businesses.
But what about the labor implication? We always worry that robots are coming for our jobs. If you make them easier to deploy, does that accelerate job loss?
It's nuanced. The counter-argument is that this actually helps reshoring. We've seen so much manufacturing leave North America because labor is cheaper overseas.
So if you make automation affordable here, it becomes viable to build factories here again.
That's the hope. It shifts the labor from manual repetition to system management. A factory tech can be trained to manage these systems much faster than the old one.
It feels like the industry is maturing, moving from the expensive experimental phase to the utility phase.
And then they're expanding to Europe now, so they're aiming for global dominance. Definitely a company to watch.
All right, for our final story, we are going from giant factory robots to a robot you can put in your pocket, or maybe a very large pocket.
Probably a jacket pocket. Samsung is officially bringing the Galaxy Z TriFold to the U.S. this Friday, January 30th.
The TriFold, so just to visualize this, we are talking about a phone that folds not once but twice.
Correct. 3 panels, 2 hinges. When it's all folded up, it looks like a thick smartphone. But when you unfold it, You get a massive 10-inch screen. It's basically a full-size tablet that collapses.
10 inches is iPad territory. That's a serious piece of glass. But I have to ask about the price. I feel like I need to brace myself.
You definitely should. The U.S. pricing is confirmed at $2,899.
Almost $3,000.
That's $899 more than the standard Galaxy Z Fold 7.
Wow. That is a decent used car. That is a lot of money for something I'm probably going to drop.
It's a statement piece for sure. But let's look at why it costs that much. Driving a screen that big requires serious horsepower. It's got the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip and 16 gigabytes of RAM.
16 gigs of RAM. My laptop has 16 gigs.
Because the selling point isn't just big screen, it's multitasking.
Yeah.
This phone is designed to run 3 full-size apps simultaneously. You could have your email, a Zoom call, and a spreadsheet all active at the same time.
So it's not really competing with the iPhone, it's competing with your laptop.
Exactly. But there are trade-offs for that engineering.
I imagine durability is the big one. 2 hinges means twice the mechanical failure points.
And twice the crease. YouTubers are already stress testing it. It's also so thin when unfolded, only 3.9 millimeters, that it feels delicate. And because of the design, it lacks flex mode.
Remind us what flex mode is.
That's on the standard Fold, where you can bend it 90 degrees and sit it on a table like a mini laptop. The TriFold is a bit more awkward to prop up.
And then screen quality.
Reports say it's slightly dimmer than the Fold 7, likely to conserve batteries since it's lighting up so much more surface area.
So you're paying a huge premium for the form factor, but taking a small step back on some features, who is this actually for?
I think it's the ultimate power user device. The executive who wants to sign documents, check the market, and email, all while standing in an elevator. It's a status symbol as much as a tool.
It's the cool factor tax. You pull that out at a dinner party and you've won the gadget war.
For sure. But it does push the industry forward. It forces Apple and Google to figure out how to make their software adapt to these changing screen sizes, blurring the line between a mobile OS and a desktop OS.
It seems like that's the theme today. All these categories we used to have, this is a phone, this is a robot, are just melting away.
Convergence is the theme, for sure.
Well, speaking of flexible and comfortable, before we recap, we want to mention our other sponsor for today, Skony.
Oh, I love my Skonies.
Yeah.
If you play golf, or even if you just like comfortable, stylish shoes, you have to check them out. They make premium golf shoes that don't look like, clunky golf shoes.
They're comfortable enough to wear all day, on or off the course. And just like with Old Glory, our listeners get a discount.
Use that promo code SNARFUL again. That's SNARFUL at checkout for 15% off your entire purchase.
That is skony.com.
So to recap the dots we connected today. First, TikTok's Epstein DM blocks. Looks like censorship, might be a database failure, but the timing with the new ownership is incredibly suspect.
Then we looked at Vention raising $110 million to bring physical AI to manufacturing. They're making it as easy to design factory automation as it is to build a website.
And finally, Samsung's Galaxy Z TriFold, a $3,000 engineering marvel that puts a 10-inch screen in your pocket, challenging the very idea of what a smartphone should be.
It's a wild time for tech. The systems are getting smarter, the robots are getting easier to use, and our phones are getting, bigger and more expensive.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
Have a great day, everyone.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.